It's easy. Nothing you can make that can't be made. No one you can save that can't be saved. Nothing you can do that you can learn how to be you in time. It's easy. All you need is love. All you need is love. All you need is love. Love. Love is all you need.
All You Need Is Love. First performed on June 25th, 1967. Was a song that Lyndon was asked to come up with containing a simple message to be understood by all peoples, races, and creeds. According to the Beatles manager, Brian Epstein, it was an inspired song and they really wanted to give the world a message. The nice thing about it is that it cannot be misinterpreted. It is a clear message saying that love is everything. Love is everything. 1 Corinthians 13:4 states that love is patient. Love is kind. It does not envy. It does not boast. It is not proud. On this day of every year, we celebrate love. How much there is and how much the world is lacking. Love can be found in music, poems, movies, and stories. Here's an example. It was a crisp autumn evening. Afternoon was stretching into night. The kind of evening perfect for a stroll down the block. Jean and Pat were walking down the avenue arm in arm, both giving the other an occasional gaze, the kind you give to someone you are madly in love with one another. They had set out on that evening for dinner at their favorite bistro, and maybe a movie, or maybe off to some quiet, quaint cafe to while away the hours as they listened to some soothing music from a local band. They turned a corner and thought they were taking their usual shortcut. They had gone a few short feet and realized this was not where they needed to be. Shadows pulled from the trash bins and abandoned whatnot and became a group of men who looked like they had seen only the worst that the world had to offer. Each of the men sported some type of weapon, be it a knife, a baseball bat, or a plank of wood found in the alley. They had a couple surrounded rather quickly, and any hope of making an escape was but a wisp of smoke. One man stepped from the group and made it quite clear their intentions. They wanted money or anything of value, and no one was leaving until they got what they wanted. The couple emptied their pockets and handed the ringleader what little money they had. Evidently that wasn't good enough because the gang pounced on them and beat them until all consciousness had left them. The men quickly divvied up the spoils amongst themselves and then ran out the alley, leaving the couple in a heap next to one of the many trash bins in the alley. From the other end of the alley entered a well-dressed man in a coat and tie. He clutched his Bible tightly as he made his way down the alley. As was his custom once a month, he would travel to this part of town. His goal was to visit the homeless and those less fortunate. His hope to lead others to Christ and that they see the error of their ways. He hated this alley, but it was the quickest way out of the neighborhood and out to the safe part of town. He was approaching the edge of the alley when he finally bothered to look down and saw a couple, Jean and Pat, laying crumpled against the dumpster like two little rag dolls, bloody and grimy, one lying in the arms of the other. At first he thought they were just homeless people, and then his eye caught a glimpse of a logo on a t-shirt Jean happened to be wearing. The logo was an abstract rendition of a square with an equal sign inside it. And then it hit him. That's the logo for the organization that supports equal rights for those homosexuals. Immediately his ire was emblazoned, and he started spouting all sorts of vicious statements, thinking that he was being true to what his God had written in the Bible, that he was now waving in the air towards the couple. "Faggots are what you are. God hates faggots. It says so in this very book." Finally, after a few more minutes of yelling and fist waving, he stomped off and out of the alley, not once giving a moment's thought to see if the couple he was so vehemently outraged over were all right or even alive for that matter. The Bible thumper lit out of the alley and barely missed a young college student roaming aimlessly down the sidewalk. The 20-something had her earbuds on that were attached to the iPod in her pocket. Her hands were busy blazing across the keyboard of her new cell phone, sending texts and forwarding dirty jokes to her friends. She barely even noticed the man that had almost knocked her down. For a split second she thought, what's his problem? And just as quickly the thought passed because she didn't really care what his problem was. Might have been because unless it affected her, then it wasn't her problem. Her phone buzzed and she noted yet another text message. She instinctively replied and continued her journey, not once looking up from her phone as she turned down the corner and down into the alley. The phone buzzed again, and this time she had to stop because her reply required more than a simple LOL or WTH. What the heck? A rat darts from one of the torn boxes and passes between her feet. The quick movement makes her look at her feet momentarily. It's then that she notices victims to her right. She quickly dismisses them, even though one is beginning to stir to life.